Who is Bob Marley? 1945. Birth of Bob Marley. Robert Nesta Marley was born on the 6th of February 1945 at the farm of his maternal grandfather in 9 Mile, St. Ann Parish, Jamaica, to Norval Sinclair Marley and Cedella Malcolm. Marley was a Jamaican singer, musician, and songwriter, and is considered as one of the pioneers of reggae. His musical career was marked by fusing elements of reggae, ska, and rocksteady, as well as his distinctive vocal and songwriting style. 1957. Marley's childhood. Bob Marley and Neville Livingston, later known as Bunny Wailer, were childhood friends in 9 Mile. They started to play music together while at Stepney Primary and Junior High School. In 1957, Marley's mother moved to Trenchtown, Kingston, with Bunny's father when Marley was 12 years old. As Marley and Livingston were living together in Trenchtown, Marley formed a vocal group with Bunny Wailer and Peter Tosh. The lineup was known as the Teenagers. 1959. Helping Friend. Joe Higgs, who was part of the successful vocal act Higgs and Wilson, lived nearby and encouraged Marley. Marley and the others did not play any instruments at the time and were more interested in being a vocal harmony group. Higgs helped them develop their vocal harmonies and started to teach Marley how to play guitar. 1963. Beginning of music career. In 1963, Bob Marley formed the band known as the Teenagers, including Bunny Wailer, Peter Tosh, Junior Braithwaite, Beverly Kelso, and Cherry Smith. They later changed the name to the Wailing Rudaboys, then to the Wailing Wailers, at which point they were discovered by record producer Coxsone Dodd, and finally to the Wailers. 1964. Musical success. The Wailers' single Simmer Down for the Coxsone label became a Jamaican no. One in February 1964, selling an estimated 70,000 copies. The Wailers regularly recorded for Studio One and found themselves working with established Jamaican musicians such as Ernest Ranglin, the keyboardist Jackie Midu, and saxophonist Roland Alponso. 1966. Marley's marriage. In 1966, Marley married soul singer Rita Anderson and moved near his mother's residence in Wilmington, Delaware, in the United States for a short time, during which he worked as a DuPont lab assistant and on the assembly line, and as a forklift operator at a Chrysler plant in nearby Newark, under the alias Donald Marley. 1974. Solo career. The Wailers disbanded in 1974, with each of the 3 main members pursuing a solo career. Despite the breakup, Marley continued recording as Bob Marley and the Wailers. His new backing band included brothers Carlton and a staunch family man Barrett on drums and bass respectively, and the I-Threes, consisting of Judy Mowatt, Marcia Griffiths, and Marley's wife, Rita, provided backing vocals. 1975. International breakthrough. In 1975, Marley had his international breakthrough with his first hit outside Jamaica with a live version of No Woman, No Cry from the live album. This was followed by his breakthrough album in the United States, Rastaman Vibration, which reached the top 50 of the Billboard Soul charts. 1976. Assassination attempt. On the 3rd of December 1976, 2 days before Smile, Jamaica, a free concert organized by the Jamaican Prime Minister Michael Manley in an attempt to ease tension between two warring political groups. Marley, his wife, and manager Don Taylor were wounded in an assault by unknown gunmen inside Marley's home. Nonetheless, the concert proceeded, and an injured Marley performed as scheduled 2 days after the attempt. 1976. Recovery and writing. Marley left Jamaica at the end of 1976 after a month-long recovery and writing sojourn at the site of Chris Blackwell's Compass Point Studios in Nassau, Bahamas, to recover from the injuries of assault. Later, he arrived in England, where he spent 2 years in self-imposed exile. 1977. Diagnosed with cancer. In July 1977, Marley was diagnosed with a type of malignant melanoma under a toenail, which was a symptom of already existing cancer. The diagnosis was confirmed as a Crowell lentiginous melanoma. Marley rejected his doctor's advice to have his toe amputated, citing his religious beliefs, and instead, the nail and nail bed were removed and a skin graft was taken from his thigh to cover the area. Despite his illness, he continued touring and was in the process of scheduling a 1980 world tour. 1978. Awarded Peace Medal. Peace Medal of the Third World was given to Bob Marley at the Waldorf Astoria Hotel in New York City on Thursday, June 15, 1978, by the United Nations. Bob Marley earned this distinction for his courageous work appealing for justice and peace during a time of great political unrest and unprecedented violence in the streets of Kingston, Jamaica. 1979. Africa Unite. Survival, a defiant and politically charged album, was released in 1979. Tracks such as Zimbabwe, Africa Unite, Wake Up and Live, and Survival reflected Marley's support for the struggles of Africans. His appearance at the Amandla Festival in Boston in July 1979 showed his strong opposition to South African apartheid, which he already had shown in his song War in 1976. 1980. Final album and tour. Uprising was Bob Marley's final studio album and is one of his most religious production, which includes Redemption Song and Forever Loving Jah. The album Uprising was released in May 1980. The band completed a major tour of Europe, where it played its biggest concert to 100,000 people in Milan, Italy. 1980. Declining health. After the Europe tour, Marley went to the United States, where he performed 2 shows at Madison Square Garden in New York City as part of the Uprising tour. He collapsed while jogging in Central Park and was taken to the hospital, where it was found that his cancer had spread to his brain, lungs, and liver. 1980. Last concert. Marley's last concert took place 2 days later at the Stanley Theater in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, on the 23rd of September 1980. Shortly after the last concert, Marley's health deteriorated as his cancer spread throughout his body. The rest of the tour was canceled, and Marley sought treatment at the clinic of Joseph Issels in Bavaria, Germany. 1980. Religion. Bob Marley was a member for some years of the Rastafari movement, whose culture was a key element in the development of reggae. He became an ardent proponent of Rastafari after he converted to the Rastafari faith from Catholicism in 1966. Later, Archbishop Abuna Yesihak baptized Marley into the Ethiopian Orthodox Church, giving him the name Berhane Selassie on the 4th of November 1980, shortly before his death. 1981. Last days. After 8 months of failing to effectively treat his advancing cancer, Marley boarded a plane for his home in Jamaica. During the flight, Marley's vital functions worsened. After landing in Miami, Florida, he was taken to Cedars of Lebanon Hospital for immediate medical attention, where he died on the 11th of May 1981, aged 36, due to the spread of melanoma to his lungs and brain. His final words to his son Ziggy were, "Money can't buy life." 1981. Funeral. Marley was given a state funeral in Jamaica on the 21st of May 1981 that combined elements of Ethiopian Orthodoxy and Rastafari tradition. He was buried in a chapel near his birthplace with his guitar. Jamaican Prime Minister Edward Seaga delivered the final funeral eulogy to Marley. 2001. Rebel Music, The Bob Marley Story. A feature-length documentary about Marley's life, titled Rebel Music, The Bob Marley Story, was released in 2001. The film was made with contributions from Rita, the Wailers, and Marley's lovers and children, and it also tells much of the story in Marley's own words.
Are you a rich man?
When you mean rich, what you mean?
Do you have a lot of possessions? A lot of money in the bank?
Position make you rich? I don't have that type of richness. My richness is life, forever.